Are you curious? So are we. Are you funny? We might be too. Why don't you come on in here, open up your ear holes, grab a beverage, and join us for the podcast for Empathy and Imagination. My name is Aubrey Cloutier.
And I am Drew Clark. Welcome to the show. If you are loving the content of this show and are looking for ways to contribute to it, there's a few ways you can do that. One way is you can go on our Facebook live stream, give us a thumbs up, throw up a comment. We're going to give you our phone number to call us in this live episode. You can call in and be on the show. Yes, this episode right now. Go to patreon.com/empathy and imagination. Go to youtube.com. Give us a thumbs up. This episode is brought to you by Zeist Digital. Zeist Digital can handle all of your technical computer needs. New systems, old system upgrades, problem solutions. ZICED.net. That's ZICED.net. Zeist Digital. This podcast is also brought to you by ClarkPoolSpa.com. Clark Pool and Spa, we can service all of your pool and spa needs and desires in the Contra Costa County. So if you have any pool or spa needs, go to ClarkPoolSpa.com.
Yes, and if you want to give us a call, our number is 510-859-4173. 510-859-4173. Why don't you give us a call?
Ooh, okay.
Special
Thank
guest
you.
this episode.
We have a very special guest. Everybody, please welcome Jim Labinsky. In this show, we like to start with a check-in. I'll go first. So, like, a check-in is like, how's it going? So I feel pretty good. I had a lot of fun last night. We had a brew party where we made beer. This is actually the beer from the last time we did it. And I think in my check-in, let's throw up a cheers.
Cheers.
To this home-brewed beer.
Cheers.
It's a 9% double IPA.
Here's to that.
I think that's really good.
What do you flavor it with?
Malts and hops.
No, like berries or weird stuff in
All
this
that is from the hops and the malts. Mm-hmm. So it's fruity. It's pretty sweet. I like it a lot.
I like it.
I feel good. I'm still on the train of enjoying the company. Like, I had a big day of like repairs where I made a bunch of repairs on things, and it was a very lucrative day. There were mistakes and setbacks, but I did finish strong, and that was cool. It was very challenging, so that feels good. I feel like I'm being pushed in that way. I really want to go to Burning Man. I keep thinking about it every day. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to freaking, how do I get tickets
I guess
and
it's that time
get
of
the
the year.
time off,
Did those tickets go for sale yet?
You can't even register till the end of this month.
All right. I
So-
usually miss that deadline.
Yeah, you can
And then I
register
don't
the
go.
28th, I think, of March.
But
it's like,
that's when they first go on sale.
Yeah. Well, you can register to try to go on sale. But if you're not within the first couple of seconds on a fast system, they'll
So
sell
how does
40,000 tickets.
how do people get tickets? Just
You're faster.
They snipe at the very stroke of midnight.
Everyone, tens of thousands of people do that. But that's not all the tickets. They sell more tickets later, too, and before.
Oh, I see.
There's like
that's
low
right. There are
incomes
like,
before
there's
that.
like rounds of
There's many
sales.
rounds, yeah.
Christmas sale.
And then
We still have a Christmas sale.
And then the low
There-
income.
Is there a Christmas sale? I don't know. But okay, so my check-in includes feeling good, lots of music. I know I say that a lot, but I guess I'll
Yeah,
say,
well.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate that we have this opportunity to do this podcast. Feel very grateful. So I think I'll just end my check-in there. Thank you.
Thanks for checking in.
Aubrey, how you doing?
My check-in, doing great. I know I say this a lot, but playing a lot of music. 4 bands. Keeps me busy. And I'm beginning to notice some improvement, which is good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and what else? My dad's finally coming to He's out of the ICU into a rehab zone,
And he's angry.
and he's probably angry and anxious and nervous.
Okay. How do you feel?
But
about
he's like
that?
he's sedated. He's got the trach tube in. Basically, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong
But
with
he's
the
still
triple
pulling
bypass
through.
surgery.
Ooh, wow.
Like there was water in the internal bleeding, and then excess water around his organs, and then the kidneys weren't at 100%, and then they had to put the trach tube in. So it's been like 9 weeks or something.
In ICU?
Yeah,
That's a long time.
yeah.
I'd
And
be angry, too.
That's a long time to be away from the television, watching TV all day. No, but
I'd still watch TV all day.
it's hard to imagine that.
Mm-hmm.
I know I brought this up before, but the TNG episode with Riker goes into a coma for what he thinks is like 16 years or something.
He wakes up with gray hair. He's the captain.
Right.
Yeah.
He tells,
I know that
He
episode.
tells Picard to shut up eventually.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, 2 months in the hospital. It's like, fuck, dude. And he can't even talk because he's got, like, some, there's complications with the vocal cords and stuff. So, it's just nightmarish. And I talked to my mom, and she's
Nightmarish.
like, good.
Fine. That's fine.
Like,
Top notch.
just any other day, Yeah, I'm good. Fine.
Is she like not
She's a
expressing
lot
her
like
true feelings?
She's a lot like me in that way. She's kind of stoic sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I think stoicness is helpful sometimes, and other times it can get in the way. I know I have found that for myself.
Yeah. But, that's progressing in a positive direction, which is good. Happy to be here doing this. What else happened recently? Yeah, that's it. Pretty good.
Cool.
Pretty good check-in.
Nice. All right, now, Jim Labinsky, how you doing? What's going on with you? How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little
Okay.
foggy
Okay.
from last night's, brew.
Yeah.
The Sugar City
Brew Club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sugar City Brew Club. This is a high potency beer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take a whole lot to work well.
Yeah.
So, I woke up this morning a little foggy. My wife woke up at 6 a.m. and said, "Oh my God, it's 6 a.m. I'm supposed to be at school." I'm like, "Saturday, go back to sleep."
Oof.
So woke with a start, and then rolled over and slept for a couple more hours. And generally around the house, we've been doing some gardening, which I love.
Okay.
I love to do that in February and March because a lot of people around the country and around the world don't have that opportunity.
Yes.
And then comes
That's true.
springtime, you get some, beautiful garden and reap all the rewards for a little bit of work. So, kind of been into that.
Yeah, we have a segment on the show called Garden Update.
Oh, I'm jumping the gun a little bit.
Well,
No, you want to do a garden? Let's do the Jim Labinsky garden
Jim
update.
Labinsky Garden Update.
Well, I'm going to be honest here. I'm kind of a lazy gardener. And so a lot of things I planted in the past 4 weeks have been things I've been meaning to plant for, a year or more. And I also have sort of a catch-all nursery where I just throw all these little pieces of things that, little cuttings and whatnot. And with all the rain, those things really kind of took off, and they're just doing really well. They're ready to be moved on. So took the active garbage pail nursery and kind of spread that love around the house. Put up a couple bird feeders, one for the hummingbirds, one for the others. And we've had a squirrel hanging down by its hind legs and eating right out of the bird feeder, just having it was like big fat squirrel. So
Dang it.
We've been enjoying the simple things around the garden.
Cool.
Nice. Do you have to keep the bird separate? You have to keep the birds separated, the hummingbirds and the other birds?
No,
Or do they
right now
take
we have
different-
we have them hung right next to each other, so
Okay.
I haven't seen any hummingbirds yet. I think they're still discovering.
There's a really good YouTuber, homesteader, who talks about the total and utter neglect garden. And that's intentional, like the way you set it up so that you really have like an hour of labor at the beginning, and then you harvest it, and then you get it ready after that. And that's like most of it.
Yeah.
And that's a whole philosophy. I mean, we've got, our garden situation here too, but that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the philosophy behind just minimum maintenance?
If you can work with the cycles of nature and align with how systems work and you're balancing nitrogen and carbon, you can do a lot in one place with just a little bit of upfront preparation.
It's fun. It's funny how that seems like a new concept, but
yeah,
it's actually the super old concept. It's like we invented agriculture, and then we invented cities, and now we're like figuring out. Oh yeah, that actually the old methods worked pretty well.
Imagine that. So is that your whole garden update?
Well, let's see. Yeah, I'm also last spring I planted a bunch of fruit trees all along the back, the north side. So I've got apple, I've got peach, a couple plums, cherries. The cherries are blooming. I can almost see them from my seat right here. Mm-hmm. And looking forward to some fruits coming in this season.
Yeah, perhaps if there's any excess, the Crockett, the Sugar City Brew Club could potentially use some of that fruit to flavor some kind of beer or something.
I like where this is going.
Like, I don't know if you've had. I've had my friend Curtis. He made a oatmeal blueberry stout one time that was like right on the money. It was like just a Thanksgiving muffin or something.
Huh.
Good for breakfast.
Oh yeah, beer is so much more than a breakfast drink.
I sort of don't like citrusy things in my food. Like pineapple pizza or stuff like that. But I don't mind it as much in beers. Like that blood orange beer that we had was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I guess as long as it's subtle enough, I don't like lemon meringue pie either.
I don't
Do you guys
either.
like that?
No,
It's too in your face.
No, it's too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
I'm not into it.
If I'm eating pie, I want to feel like I'm doing something really fucking unhealthy. I don't want to feel like, oh, this is lemon. This is like cleaner and fruit and health.
I'm like cleaning. No, I agree, dude. That's a very good point. I want pecan pie. I want it to feel thick
chocolate
in my throat. Just kind of. You have to drink milk afterwards just to clean your esophagus, and just oily and crunchy. And it's like, oh, I guess I'll just have a little bit, But all right. So Jim,
or lime. What's that lime? Key lime.
Key lime
Key
pie?
lime.
No, thank you.
No thanks. Give me chocolate.
So okay, Jim. You got the trees going. You got your garden, your low work garden going. Your total under neglect system. You have anything else in the garden, or can I ask you another question?
That about sums it up from my side. Ask away.
Okay, so how are you feeling? How are you feeling in your life right now? Yeah, emotionally.
You want me to be honest here,
Yeah,
huh?
as honest as you'd like to be.
Okay, well, this morning, my wife was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, the big C word, right, which has a lot of stigma, negative connotations, of course, and people just don't like to talk about it. So I'm sorry to everybody out there in YouTube land, but today we went to this place called the Cancer Support Community, which we've been going to ever since that diagnosis. And I hope nobody needs to get to know them, but they are a wonderful organization which is really helping our family get through it. So spent some time there with the adults. Kids broke off into their age groups, and we got some nice support. So that that's what I'm really feeling is
You feeling supported?
I'm feeling supported, and the weight of reality.
Heard.
Of dealing with that.
So mixture. Well, I really appreciate your honesty. I really appreciate it.
I'm here
Yeah,
for
that's
you.
heavy.
Well, here on the podcast for empathy and imagination, it's a good space to be able to really say what's going
Yeah,
on.
this is a good forum for those real feelings.
Well, okay. Is there anything else to share there?
No.
Okay.
I'd say that's enough.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
Cool.
you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. So it's time for some topics.
You got a topic?
I do have a couple of topics. Let's start with the first one. Now, this is a broad topic, and sometimes on the show we like to go into topics that are like very local and close by, and then sometimes we like to take topics that are very large and overlooking. And this is something that's very near and dear to me, and I've done volunteering in this world, and I know some about it.
Sex working?
Not quite. Well, close. It's why has the United States dollar been consistently falling throughout 2017 and throughout the last 98 years, essentially. So, for example,
a little above my head on this one.
Well,
I don't know
the
if
thing-
I have any answers.
Economics. Huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
Falling in value as it compares to other foreign currencies.
Yeah.
So even with inflation and all that stuff, the
Yeah.
adjustments, it's still a dollar today is not the same as a dollar in 1970.
Internationalbanker.com says U.S. dollar is the world's reserve currency, the representation of U.S. economic might on the global stage, and to the de facto currency unit for the overwhelming majority of financial assets. Throughout 2017, however, the greenback has taken a long and sustained nosedive to hit multi-year lows. The U.S. dollar index, which measures the value of the dollar against a weighted basket of currencies belonging to 6 of the United States' biggest foreign trade partners, the euro, yen, pound sterling, Canadian dollar, Swedish krona, and Swiss franc, recently slipped to its lowest level in more than 2 years. So that, to me, I'm going to start there, and then I want to jump to this other topic, which is connected and a little bit different. I'm going to get the audience in on this. The penny costs more to make than the coin is worth.
Right. I think we should
But
abolish,
rounding to the nearest nickel might cost even more.
abolish the penny.
Governments have long waged war on cash in an attempt to curb terrorism and tax evasion. Their focus has typically been on eliminating large denominations like Europe's 500 euro bill or India's 1,000 ruble note.
Right.
Two U.S. lawmakers
It's
have
hard
a
to
much
get it-
smaller target in mind. The lower penny, perhaps, and most commonly found in jars and underneath couch cushions, but rarely used to actually pay for things. Their complaint is that the cost to mint billions of these one-cent coins every year is costing taxpayers a small fortune. So is it time to end the coin's 230-year run?
Yes.
Yes.
It's also it's hard to get a $100 bill. It's harder than it used to be. If you go into the bank and you want to take out $200, they will try to convince you to get lower than $100 denominations.
Like 50s or 20s?
Yeah. So I think they're phasing out the upper level $1,000 bills and such. I think they need to phase out the penny too.
Why do you think that's happening?
Why do you think we want?
Okay, so it costs just right about now. It's like 1.8 cents to make a penny. It costs that much. So we're the farce coin we're making is costing us more than even it can represent.
Right.
So that to me is a signal that we've reached a point.
It's like the final corp dollar bill that you can buy for $5.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're wasting your time.
I am.
Those pennies. On those pennies.
Yeah. There was
The
there was
mint is
a
Well, why?
their
But
time.
let's look at that as a symptom. What is that telling us?
also just quickly. There was I forget where, but they got rid of the penny of their currency, and it was like totally fine. It was, it wasn't like a Y2K thing. The economy was fine. Everybody was fine.
Nothing collapsed.
So you're saying what does it say about our culture that we're getting rid of pennies and
no
$10,000 bills?
We aren't getting rid of pennies, and I don't think there is a $10,000 bill. We're going to keep pennies for now. But what does it say about our system that it costs 2 pennies to make a penny, and that pennies are useless?
I don't know.
Well, let's apply empathy and imagination to that question.
My guess would be
let's sink in.
interest rates and inflation. Federal Reserve. That's
Interest rates, inflation, Federal Reserve. I think you're on the topic.
centralized manipulation of currency. I also think it depends on who you listen to, but I think that China's been screwing us royally
Because they're
for a
buying up our
long
money.
time.
Do you know anything about that?
China.
Buying our money?
Well, they're just taking over almost all
I don't
manufacturing.
I can't even really wrap my head around what that is. Buying money,
Well, there's big bonds and stocks, and our
Manipulating
government has
currency.
them, and then China's holding a bunch of them. Like, they gave us money to hold our debt, as I understand it. And so, yeah, you go like, why? What does that do? They're like banking, like they're hoping they're going to make money on the deal. And they are. But they is really President Xi or she. And, I mean, what does that even mean? I don't even know what I'm talking about. So, Arizona Rep. Jim Hayes first tried to get rid of the penny in 1989 under the Price Rounding Act, and many others have urged its elimination since, leading to the TV series The West Wing, even to mock the debate in one of its episodes. Former President Barack Obama lent his voice to the cause in a 2013 interview in which he called the penny a metaphor for the government's difficulty in getting rid of wasteful services. The latest salvo came in March when Senator John McCain and Mike Enzi introduced legislation to eliminate the minting of pennies. The bill also produces switching the paper $1 bill to a coin and changing the composition of the nickel in order to bring the cost down. He said it would lead to an estimated $16 billion in savings. The penny wouldn't be the first form of currency the U.S. has eliminated. We got rid of half cent in 1857. You know, it's like, why eliminate the penny? One of the most compelling reasons cited for getting rid of the penny is the fact that it's become unprofitable due to inflation and the rising cost of metals. The U.S. Mint has been losing money on every penny it's produced since 2006.
And I think because of its sort of unwieldiness, there's probably, I don't know what the number is, but there's probably like $1 million just in pennies that are just sitting in drawers, because it's not like they're hard to spend. You know, they're hard to spend. You need a bunch of them before you have any reasonable incentive to go to the bank and cash them in. So there's probably millions of dollars in American wealth that's just tied up in drawers of pennies.
Drawers. That's an
Maybe
interesting
give
thought.
all the pennies to the Chinese
Oh, okay.
and move on, right?
Uh-huh.
But I have a question. I mean, do you really go to the bank to get rid of your pennies? Because what I find is it's just not worth the effort.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
roll 'em.
Exactly.
So I take them to Coinstar.
And they take a percent.
And they take 10%,
They take
man.
that percent,
Yeah,
which
fuck.
makes me
I don't
very
like-
angry.
me
They're
too.
fucking you.
Makes me, yep, makes me very angry, and I just wish that I thought of that idea.
Yeah.
Right?
They could do it for 1%.
10
but they're
cents
taking
for every
10.
dollar. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
And
1%, that'd be a service.
And you're paying for the convenience. Oh, I just dump it in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that if we're unwilling to touch,
Think about how much that costs. Just the idea of thinking about pennies, rolling them, going to Coinstar. If we got rid of pennies, we could probably save
billions, probably
a couple
bi-
dollars.
no.
You're crazy. 300 cents. No.
Well, I wouldn't go to the bank without 500 pennies or Coinstar even.
Right.
Like if I don't have 500, I'm not going.
I mean, the last time I went to the bank with rolled coins was probably 20 years ago or something.
Same here.
See, but that's what you were saying. We don't go to the bank. You know what we do? We go like this. We go on our phones. We go, how's this? Is this
Yeah.
give me?
Bank, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I actually got rid of my
Venmo.
brick and mortar bank.
You just have an
It's
online
all
bank?
everything's online now.
Really?
I can't walk.
How do you get cash out at an ATM?
Well, I can do that, but I don't have a
I can do that.
an HQ.
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? HQ?
Well, it means I could move to Boston and nothing would change in terms of where I'm banking.
Mm-hmm. I've been like that for about 15 years, including business banking.
What's
Yeah,
your
and
bank?
I can go to any ATM, and it can have a $9 fee. At the end of the month, that fee is refunded to me.
Okay. This is this sounds good.
It's better.
It's good.
Is it a credit union?
No. This is just I just do Schwab.
Schwab? What's it called?
I wanted to marry this this checking account when I saw it. Free postage on. So the thing is, you can't depositing something takes a few days.
Can you do it with your
That's
phone?
the issue. Yes, but it still takes a few days.
That's fine.
You earn interest on your checking balance, free checks, ATM refunds.
All right, I gotta tell my business
No overage
operator
charges.
about this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We need a switch.
When I
man.
saw this
holy
thing,
cow!
you know,
Really?
I was-
Why didn't you tell me?
I wanted to masturbate again when I saw this.
You were
checking
so excited.
account. But again, it's one of those confusing. It's a confusopoly. The whole banking environment.
Confusopoly. I like that.
It's like, yeah, there are 1,000 different plans to choose from. Which one's right for you? I don't know, because the differences are so slight. Just like cell phone plans, we talked about this last week. The confusing ripoffs.
Yeah, that was our topic.
Plans that are so complicated but only slightly different. So you feel like you have a lot. That buzz is bothering me.
It's growing on you. I tuned it out.
But what do you think, Drew? You think we should get rid of the penny?
No. I think we should keep the penny, and we should keep having pennies.
I guess what I'm trying to say is a penny for your thoughts.
Okay. I think we should keep the penny, and I think we should have diseases on the pennies, and then we should pass them around in weird penny trading rituals. I want to take pennies
That's a fucked up idea.
in butt cracks of the homeless men and women of America, and I want to smear them around and then pass them out for really vile services. That's, I think, the best use of pennies.
Okay.
Because zinc
Anchors?
zinc is useful. If you were to hammer a bunch of pennies together, you could build a powerful anchor, So it's like, there we go. I want to keep pennies. I don't want to get rid of them because it's a reminder that it was great. My opinion is it was fantastically beneficial that capitalism and the U.S. dollar system worked in all the ways it has worked to build all the things we use now. And I'm looking for a way to gently retire it as we step on to the next level of organizing goods and services between people. I think it was the best thing to happen to the world until it created the best thing to happen to the world. And it did. So you can't poop on it.
It's almost like monopoly money, pennies. Like good for demonstrating principles of capitalism. Right? So you could
interesting.
Save a penny a day. Oh, at the end of the year you have like $3.65. Son. That's how capitalism works. That's how interest works.
You could buy a sandwich at McDonald's.
Right.
Which will make you tired.
You could buy 1 gallon of gas. So maybe it has like demonstrable value, pennies. Maybe they're more valuable as the concept of them is more valuable than their actual value.
Well, at Burning Man, people make art out of pennies.
Do they?
Big time.
I haven't seen that.
When I've been out there, Jim's actually, we're all burners. When I've been out there years, there have been plenty of penny art setups. Whole animals and shapes, art cars covered in pennies.
That's a good use of pennies.
It is a good use, and that is a good use of pennies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was the guitar. He found it. It's the guitar. Yes.
Excellent work.
Because we were thinking of we might put some live music in here. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So. I think it's time for a word from our sponsor. And then let's move on to the next topic. Right after we have closing thoughts on why the dollar is crashing. The penny seems like a weird thought and topic. And I am obviously not against capitalism. I just think it worked so well that it's time for it to step aside.
The dollar.
What do you think?
The dollar might be crashing in part because of.
Come on.
The dollar.
The dollar broke your microphone.
The dollar might be crashing in part due to cryptocurrencies.
I knew you were going to bring up crypto in this topic. I knew he was going to. I was like, I could have bet money.
And you know
he
what?
was going to bring up crypto.
I think governments are going to start issuing their own cryptocurrencies.
Are they going to be blockchain?
And you would be very, very stupid to buy them.
Why is that?
Because it's a way to track you.
Oh, like you insert the chip in your wrist?
Who wants to use the Fed coin? Nobody.
No, I don't.
I want to use hip coin. Something
I would rather have a
something
Jim
that sounds
Labinsky
edgy,
coin.
right?
Jim Labinsky coin. Think about it. You have a currency from blockchain, and if if I work in a band, you need something recorded. You get some Jim bucks, and then if you come on a podcast, then you're spending Jim bucks or something. I don't. Work with me
I
here.
think I'd rather trade lemons and beer.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing that
lemons and
already.
beer.
That's like the local version.
How do we
That's
how do
about
we
as
take that
high-tech
to
as
the
I
next
wanna
level?
get,
Is what
you
we're
know.
saying here. How do we take the lemons and beer efficiency we've just produced?
Lemonade.
Lemon beer. Yes.
Lemon beer.
That's more of a summertime
Lemon
thing,
ale.
right? For a lemon beer, right?
It sounds summery.
Yeah.
What if there was there is a cryptocurrency that's basically electricity exchange. So I'm off the grid, right? Living off the grid, but I have an internet connection. And I exchange this electricity token to someone who has an excess of electricity. And I buy directly, it's like for me and PG&E.
Do you have solar panels, or are you like a dealer?
They have
of
solar. They have excess energy, and I just pay them like a cryptocurrency
to use it?
Yeah. So
run
cryptocurrency for transmitting electricity.
Interesting. So it's like the PG&E of cryptocurrencies.
Again, it's like the new internet.
But do we need
Trying to get your brain around how powerful the blockchain is hard because there's so many uses for it.
Well, okay, so here's a question. It's like, can we? Does it have to be everything's a different blockchain? Do we have to have all the where there's 900 million
It doesn't
currencies?
have to be anything because it's not centralized. No one's controlling it.
Well, then can we make it one blockchain for all the Earthfish? Is that too far?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know why you'd want to do that though. Like you could have gradient bucks.
Okay, for the studio and the garden and the rabbits and the
So like people buy gradient bucks, or gradient tokens, whatever, gradient bucks, and that's like stock. They're like buying stock in the studio or whatever projects Gradient has. So it's almost like they're investing in you by buying your currency. But they could also pay for things like we're gonna do
How
a
do
podcast
we
at Gradient
set
Studios,
that?
so that
Yeah.
costs one gradient buck.
How do we set that up? I want to definitely get that going.
Needs
It's an
programmers.
emergency.
Need a fleet of programmers.
I think that's what Venezuela's doing this month, aren't they? Aren't they starting their own?
Yeah, I think so. Right? Didn't they flip over the government over there? They just turned up the table and fuck you.
Weren't they eating each other, eating
Well,
dogs?
It didn't get that bad.
It did.
They were
They
eating
eat each
they were
other
eating-
in
There's
Venezuela.
not.
It was like dog
cannibalism,
food
but
and
there's
dogs
no
and-
food in the country. It's pretty bad.
Socialism.
Yeah,
Bad idea.
bad.
There's dangers of socialism. There are dangers.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
That's a good topic.
So yeah,
From pennies to cryptos.
Did you have a final thought on penny and how the dollar, in 1970, the purchasing power was higher for someone making, $30,000 a year then compared to now.
You could
say
buy a
someone like
home.
you might be making $65,000 a year, and then they have less purchasing power than that person did. Like, how does that feel? How does that land on your psyche?
Yeah, it's beyond me when we get into macroeconomics, and I think, when the dollar is high, it affects our imports, right, by making it more difficult to buy American products. So with a weaker dollar, exports increase. Correct. That's how that works. So
Yeah.
it's not exactly a bad thing. That and looking at the chart, it's up and down. I haven't seen a long term when that looked like about a 2-year graph.
It's basically been an exponential ramp since the 1960s of
that is
devaluation
curious.
of the
Yeah.
dollar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I took microeconomics in college, but
What is that? Oh, it's like accounting and stuff.
I really couldn't define it right now, but maybe Wikipedia that and
Okay.
clear it up.
Right on. So, would you say that the way capitalism operates now, do you see, what do you see as its strengths and weaknesses? The way the dollar works and capitalism is now.
You got me there.
Okay. All right, that's perfect. Okay, I stumped him. Yes.
Real good.
Okay, that's perfect. So, I think that's a long-standing topic, and I think we're going to find that there's a lot of debate about what's right to do and how we should move forward. It's my opinion that the way capitalism works now is it will probably end before my expected lifetime. I think we'll be operating something so different that it'll be basically unrecognizable.
Where do you see it going?
Well, I see us starting with a universal basic income. I see if you were to include all of the money from the welfare and all of the also corporate welfare included, which there is billions of, you could easily give every person over the age of 18 $12,000 a year, 1 month at a time. $1,000, maybe $1,100 could really get you rent and food and keep the
Universal
power on.
basic income.
Yeah, that's what he was asking. Where do I think this is going? And I'm like,
Canada implement it recently?
there have been in the teens, like between 17 of different countries that have tested different or are testing different universal basic income systems.
They had good results so far.
There have been
I read something about that.
mostly what people do is they work more, they start new businesses, they innovate, and they're happier. Mostly that's what happens. The whole, like, the person goes, well, I got all the dough I need, so I'll just, like, eat chips and melt into a couch.
That's the exception.
That's like 0.0001%. It does occur, but it's small.
Because really it's like you have less worry.
I would do all kinds of shit.
You have less worry about, oh, fuck, I got to make rent this month.
And a lot
but
of people
if you
live
wake
in
up
that.
knowing that it's all taken care of and anything you do is like above and beyond your basic needs, I think that motivates you more.
Where does the base income come from?
Well, if you take all of the welfare
Like, what's
money
it
that's
based
in
on?
the U.S. now, and you take, which is large, and you were to take all of the corporate welfare, which is way larger, and you were to take that would probably cover like 90% of what I'm talking about. So we'd have to creatively figure out like another maybe 10%. But
You need a spreadsheet.
oh, yeah, we need to spreadsheet it, obviously. But what I'm saying is we're not far off from $13,000 a year per person.
Look,
to get.
you automate the fuck out of healthcare, and you have self-driving cars, right? So there's no drunk driving, there's no texting there's no crashing while driving, while texting or whatever. Insurance goes way down. Taxes actually go down. But we're still able to fund universal basic income, even though taxes have gone down because automation.
Yep.
That's
right.
That's what I see as the solution to it.
Yes, and I can see a movie now where it's like there's a guy who's got a business and he's making money, and he's like, I don't know, hey, universal basic income's coming my way. I don't really need it, I'm already cash flesh, so I'll just totally put this in my whatever account, and it'll totally work out for me. Bada bing, right? So
right, or you could forego your universal basic income, but still maybe earn interest on it or something. Some incentive for you to give away.
You get it.
What you already have,
and you can give it away, or you can put it in whatever. You can do it. So what I'm saying is, here's this rich guy. He gets this universal basic income. He's like, I don't need it. Hey, and then like he's doing his
Is he
business
from Chicago.
Yeah, he's doing his business, and he's there's adversity and there's some trouble, and then this like key guy dies, and then his wife leaves him, and then all of a sudden he's on the streets and his business is gone, and he's like, what am I going to do? I'm totally destroyed. I've been left in the wilderness now with nothing. And then he goes, oh, wait. I just got to get my $1,100 on the first. And I'm going to BO fucking K. I'm going to try again. You know? It's like, then you get to try, everyone gets to try all kinds of shit. And if everyone can try all kinds of shit,
Yeah.
dude, it's going to get crazy.
I was sort of against it. Now I'm warming up to it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
The universal basic income. I mean, for me, and not for any personal reasons, but for me it would be, what would you do if you just the basics of the month's expenses, all bills are paid for the month.
Basically,
What do you do then?
Yeah.
Well, you're probably gonna maybe smoke weed and get drunk a few nights,
Yeah.
but you can't do that every night.
No.
And you're going to get restless. And you're going to want to do things that interest you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most people will.
I think
it's
okay.
like the Buckminster Fuller. He's like, if everyone's needs are met, one of the sort of pushbacks against that argument is, oh well, who will take out the trash? And Bucky says, well, there'll be plenty of people waiting to take out the trash.
Mm-hmm.
They will love to do it. They will look forward to doing it, because for every 10,000 people that are slackers, there's going to be one person who's going to take out the trash.
Absolutely.
So the trash will get taken out. It's not
Because
not,
people
not
just will.
It's not like everyone's sitting around all indolent and like in an opioid den.
Yeah.
That's not going to be.
Not yet.
That's not going to be the majority of people.
But once you have Amazon Prime, when you can lay in a pool of slime and the helicopter drone brings you anything you order, and you order it with your mind,
Right.
that you're laying in your slime, it's at body temperature. In your mind, you order products, and they come to you by the drone. You don't even move, and you can just insert them into your gelatinous syringe and then enjoy them in your bloodstream.
There'll still be the caretakers. There'll still be the caretakers of the automated processes. You know, if everything's automated, there's still going to be people programming the automation.
For now. But I get commercials in my YouTube feed. Every so often they're like, automation is beyond what you think it is. You can buy this thing now. And I'm like, oh, fuck. That's past where I thought it was for sale now. And they're advertising to me because obviously I'm typing that crap into the computer.
The acceleration of technology is just mind-blowing.
Well, we have this product I sent to you the other day that would replace all of this that's happening here to make this show possible. It's one device that sits in the middle of the room and does all of it.
Yeah. It's wide angle.
I like this setup. It's very impressive. It's basically retired technology.
Yes.
From the ceilings and on tripods, and
it's a
really wonderful use of techno garbage.
You basically got musicians.
Yeah, thank you.
If I had a hat, I'd take it off.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that compliment. You've got musicians, like you're speaking into a bass drum microphone.
Right. That's a repurposed monitor.
That's my bass
These
drum
are
microphone.
Old iPhones. I
You
think
don't, you don't need a bass drum microphone anymore. You're all
yeah,
electric.
that's
Right.
why you're
Exactly.
speaking into it.
Right.
See,
Mhm.
that only because I didn't need it anymore.
Right.
But sometimes I would use it. I mean, I do have real drums.
And really, the only investments, like things that we bought after we got here, was this,
Yeah, the iRig.
so that we can have
I bought this.
our mixer feed go into the iPhone, and the Snake, the XLR Snake. Those are two things that were bought.
So we're actually recording all
So
this
these
too.
tubes aren't really doing anything.
It's just
No,
for
man,
decoration.
it just looks good.
Yeah, it does look good.
You're gonna pour salsa over it in a second.
No, it's
This is in the midst of getting fixed.
yeah, it's
Right?
mid repair. You can see
Turn
down
these
here.
Orange.
See this here, Jim? This loose wire. Into there's another one much like it, very near it, and then the jacks for plugging in the 1/4-inch cable. They're being replaced, and then we'll have the whole full B-52 raging.
You know, I posted a picture of this to Facebook last night, but it also has the little flowery tablecloth underneath, which I just thought was a nice combination.
Appreciate that.
And two amazing technicians responded and said different things
Oh,
about
what-
it. So if you need
Huh.
Let's hear it.
Yeah,
let's
let's
check
get
it
the-
out. Pull it
get a
out.
read on this.
Wow, this is awesome. I appreciate that.
Let me see if I can find this.
Well, today's episode is brought to us by Final Corp. Oh, you
Yeah.
got it. You got it there.
Yep.
Good.
If you want, we can show it. Or
So we can show the photograph.
here, let me do this. This is actually how we do it.
It's clearly a party. There's a bottle cap in there, and the around the tubes we have party lights.
You have the diagonal cutters
I just
handle.
love the logo of the AT100. It's just a great retro logo.
Yeah, thank you. I like this amp. It's a really great metal amp.
Is it
Yeah.
for a guitar?
Yeah.
Is it?
I play that thing through this, and that's all I need, man. I don't need any other pedals or anything. I'm good.
The first technician that responded
Okay.
is Matt Fu. I call him Mr. Fu. Right.
Right on. Thank you,
Burner,
Matt Fu.
been to Burning Man with him. He says, electrons want to be free, not slaves in some horrible semiconductor gulag.
Yes! Oh, I love that.
it.
That's a good
Love it.
quote. I love that.
And then Fred Bova, who is an amazing technician. If you're out there watching right now, hats off to you. Used to work with him at A&M Records. He was a technician there. I made a career out of being an electron traffic controller evaluation or recertification technician.
Holy crap.
Some good sense of humor on these.
I hope we
these high-end technicians.
For those who are watching, cut that into a clip and just post those two quotes together on
Yeah, that's great.
one thing. Oh my gosh.
I'll post it in the comments later.
Okay, thank you. Wow, holy shit. So Jim, tell me a little bit about that. Like AMC Records. Wait, you just dropped
A&M.
that like
A&M
A&M
Records.
Records. You just dropped that like you're just a sexy lady. So what's the deal? How did you get into that?
It was a previous career. So I studied music at Berklee College of Music,
right.
recording and production.
Recording and production.
Yep.
Okay, that's why you mixed my songs so well. It's
Did I?
so much better.
Did I
Yeah.
do that last night?
It was 3 weeks ago.
Oh, thank you. That's right. So I studied that and then moved from Boston to Los Angeles, and I hit the pavement. Started knocking on studio doors, knocked on Madonna's studio.
Did you? Were you like a wide-eyed,
Yeah,
naive
young and dumb.
kid who didn't
Mhm.
know what?
Young and dumb and
I mean, is that why you hit the
Full of
pavement? Is
fun.
because you just
Well, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to work for a studio, so
right?
got an interview at Madonna's studio, and they were about to record the Smithereens. This would have been in '91, so whatever
So you-
came out in '92.
So you went to L.A., got an apartment, and like looked through the trades and looked at where the studios were and went to them.
Yeah, and started just knocking on the door. Hey,
Wow.
you hiring? And,
dude, that's so ballsy.
In '91,
Dude, that's
you could still do
awesome.
that in
You
'91.
could still do that.
I'm
I don't
proud
know
of
if
you.
they-
That's
Jesus.
awesome.
I don't know
That's
if they let
cool.
you do that anymore. But after interviewing with Dooley, was his last name, he's like, well, I can hire you for 6 weeks for the Smithereen record, but then I'm going to have to let you go. But I know they need someone over at A&M. He goes, hey, let me call Mark Harvey. So he picks up the phone, and he goes, hey, Mark, I got a guy for you. Hands me the phone to the studio manager, and I'm like, yeah,
Just like that.
I'm looking for a gig.
And
It was-
what is that? What would you call that gig? What's the name of that gig?
It would be that was to get your foot in the door in the studios, you had to start making the coffee, right? So
Okay.
as a runner, right? So basically, you just
Gopher.
working around the studio.
It was like production assistant or something.
Not even a
even.
runner. Is what it was. Just,
We've all done
"Hey,
that.
give me a runner. I need something.
Do the shit
Could be
I say to
anything,
do.
right?
Right.
Could be anything. Cigarettes, food, coffee, whatever. And then you're in the system. And
Right.
then from there, I just got put onto different projects. Got to work with Lenny Kravitz and Alice Cooper. And,
Whoa. Lenny Kravitz, what year? In 95?
Lenny Kravitz. This is a
Are
good
you gonna
story.
go my
So
way?
it was actually on a Stevie Winwood album. So Stevie Winwood sent the tapes over from England, and
Steve Winwood from Traffic
yeah,
fame,
from
and
Traffic.
And then he did a solo career. I think he was in
Mhm.
the Eagles for a brief period too.
Yeah, he may have been. He played with Clapton
That's right.
in Traffic. I think Clapton was in Traffic. So one of my first actually recording gigs was recording Lenny Kravitz. And
Your
this
first
was in,
recording gigs? Gosh,
Yep.
dang it, Jim.
it was a PSA for Alice Cooper was the first one, and then Lenny Kravitz. And Lenny Kravitz at the time, back in the time, he had the dreads.
This
right?
was like 95?
This would have been
93?
93, 94, maybe. So he had the dreads, and he was fun to work with. And he was just putting a guitar solo on Stevie Winwood's record,
Gee.
and working on an API console, Studio C, A&M Records. And he was having some troubles at home, so he was taking a lot of phone calls with his grandfather.
Oh.
And it's like, so he'd talk on the phone, and it's like, you can't do that. You can't say that to her. You gotta be nice to her. And going back and forth, he's hang up the phone. Okay, let's do another pass. Let's set up the recording, and he'd get into it, and he's like, his dreadlocks are flying all over the place, and at one point, his hair got stuck in the guitar, right? And like he had the cut off strings, like. And he's like, "Oh, I had to sit there for about 10 minutes and untangle him from the guitar." And
That's why I chose to go bald. I just didn't want to deal with
It's
it.
simple,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But we ended up getting a good take, and it made the record.
What tune was it? Do you remember?
I could look it up.
Are you gonna go my way?
No, it was just a track off.
It was
the
off that
Stevie
record,
Winwood.
though?
Yeah, I'll look it up here, and I'll
Okay,
let you know.
All right.
Cool. Well, today's show.
We can play it, too.
Episode
We
is
can-
Yeah.
brought to you by Final Corp.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
I have a question.
Final Corp is the leader in the field of human voice simulation and voice recognition. My name is Zamzam Zamani, and I am the product of hundreds of thousands of man-hours of Final Corp research and development. My voice is indistinguishable from that of a flesh-and-blood English-speaking human being. Also, grammatical never makes I don't mistakes, for example. Ever. 100% accuracy and 100% fluency. Final Corp has also pioneered shout recognition technology, yelling-based reminders, and noise-amplifying headphones. Take it from me, Zamzam Zamani. Final Corp is the voice of the future.
I wanted like a Doogie Howser-ish keyboard on that.
Hey, didn't we have the message from the year 10,000 too?
We do.
Yeah. I know we need to run that ad copy. They told us.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is your Final Corp representative from the year 10,000. Please help me. Please help me. The world of the year 10,000 is a nightmarish hellscape. Please help me. I used to be human, but now I am mostly a robot. My arms, legs, neck, ears, hair, torso, eyeballs, nose, and mouth have been replaced by certified Final Corp parts. Final Corp rules the world. There is no escape from Final Corp. Final Corp has made my life an unending marathon of despair. Please help me. Please help me. Thank you. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Final Corp.
It'll be fine.
It will be fine.
Remember, folks, Final Corp has only its best interests in mind.
Yes.
And, of course, it'll be fine.
Thanks, Final
All right.
Corp.
Thanks, Final Corp, for sponsoring this message. So, actually, we can, if we can have a little,
Yeah, if you want, we can play.
I can pull this out and I can plug that into what you got. You ready?
We got AV capability.
Well, unfortunately, I have an iPhone 8.
That's
You
not
had
gonna
a-
work.
an episode on that.
Dude,
Yeah, no
we need-
3.5 millimeter output. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We use
Are
it
you
every day.
kidding?
I dealt with this recently. I was like,
Why?
I sat there
I just want
for
to go back and
probably 30 seconds being like,
wait,
what?
Uh huh.
You're,
Like, why?
You don't have a
you're
3.5?
telling me there's no headphone out?
That changes my whole world.
So now you have to buy new headphones.
Apples
Dude,
sucks.
these are not going to... I mean, we're not doing that. That's not going to happen.
They want you to be on the
Apple
whatever
train.
it is,
The Apple
the
train.
wireless headphones.
Yeah. So you'll have to look it up on a phone that has a 3.5 millimeter.
What's it called?
Yeah, what's the name of the tune?
Junction 7.
Huh. Junction 7, Lenny
Was
Kravitz.
never hit the top charts.
It's pretty fucking cool, though, man. To work with a black Jew. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
His daughter was in a movie I saw recently.
Drum Step, Muzzy,
Zoe.
Junction 7.
Zoe Kravitz. Junction 7, yeah.
Yeah, they're all like showbiz.
Yeah.
Let me try
It's all in the
this.
family.
Good for him. I mean, he's. I remember that record. He was like using vintage amps, and he was all into the vintage sound and
Yeah.
the old mixing board, the old amps. Like,
Yeah. He loves that
it was
stuff.
impressive.
It's
The
fun.
dedication
it's a fun way
to
to
that.
work.
Yeah. Did he have like a vision for that? Was he like, yeah, we're gonna do it this way, or was it the producer who more had the vision? And
There was no producer. I think they contacted him, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to do it at A&M," because he knew that we had tons of vintage gear, and Studio C was an API
so he was already
console.
thinking about the vintage thing.
So we had, all sorts of combinations of Neves and APIs and
Wow.
vintage compression. So I think that's what drew him in.
Hmm.
It was a fun day.
Very cool. You pulling something up
I'm
there,
trying
Drew?
to here. I'm so far having a difficult time, but that helps.
Drew is pulling something up on the screen. It'll be
We
a
gotta get
second.
these tubes glowing orange. That's
Wouldn't
key,
that be
even if
nice?
it's fake.
Even if
It's fake.
we could plug it in and turn it on.
Steve Winwood, Junction 7.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We
This
could
is it?
turn it in and plug it in and turn it on.
It's like it wants me to pay euros or something. I just
No
can't-
Bitcoin?
Can't handle
Well,
that.
we'll come back. to it.
Bitcoin option?
No Bitcoin option. Okay.
All right. Well, the point of that was that Jim worked with Lenny Kravitz on a Steve Winwood
Well,
tune.
then what happened after that? Like
and they had
what?
a bunch of vintage gear.
Mhm.
So well, then your career, like music. What happened?
Okay, well, that was a fun day in the studio.
Okay.
Was that like the
But-
first sort of studio gig that you had after being a runner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then I got put onto a series of, different artists. I did 2 records with Bon Jovi, one with the least popular Motley Crue album with
Hey,
John-
congratulations.
yeah, with John Corabi from The Scream. When
I don't know the
Remember
name
that
John
one?
Corabi, nor do I
I
know the
vaguely
name
remember
The
that, yeah.
Scream.
they
I
put
don't know
out a
either of
record
those.
without Vince Neil, which was a
Damn,
a
it's not
marketing
even
mistake.
Poison at that point.
But it's a great record.
Poison.
Great
It wasn't even
sounding record.
Poison. It was Motley Crue.
But the general
sorry.
experience of working in Hollywood is it's absolutely crushing. I mean, I
Oh,
was-
okay.
Yeah, I was
Huh.
working
No kidding.
16 hours a day on average, 7 days a week. I maxed out one week at 134 hours in 1 week. Right? So
What?
it's just work, sleep.
134
work,
hours.
sleep.
That's almost 20 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 hours of sleep.
What were you working on when you did that?
If you're not
Yeah.
ready for Los
Well,
Angeles, it'll chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah, it will. I think that was probably.
If
one
you're
of the
young,
Motley
you
Crue
can-
albums.
If you're
It was either
young, you
Motley
can
Crue-
handle it a little
Yeah.
bit.
And so you're like, what are you doing 20 hours a day? Like literally, what is your body doing?
Well, my tasks were basically to record everything, work in the patch bay, patching up, all the I was a house engineer, a second engineer. So when a artist would say, "Yeah, we want to do this," it's like, "Well, this is
A
what
plebe,
works in this space."
a
with this
pro.
equipment." Yeah. So over the 7 years I worked there, I figure it's more about 12 years of experience.
Right.
Okay, to
Because you're
equal
working
out.
you're working 2 weeks. for
Got
every
it. Got
week.
it. Got it. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes.
Or maybe even
That's
more
a good
than that.
philosophy. Yeah.
Maybe even more than that.
Take advantage of your youth and energy and
So
enthusiasm.
he got his 10,000 hours.
and like doubled your experience hours.
You got 10,000 hours in music production, like in 5 days. Or a short period. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
very
Right. Usually
period.
takes 10 years for 10,000 hours. You probably did it in like 7.
Yeah, 7
6.
or less. Yeah.
So I think one of the best quotes I encountered in Hollywood was when one of my colleagues quit and walked out of the studio, and he goes, "You're working in a recording studio because you like music is like working in a slaughterhouse because you love animals." And he quit. He's like, I'm out of here. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I've played shows in LA, but I've never like been in Hollywood. I've never
Right.
done anything like that.
I work in a bank because I really like money.
Okay. Well, shoot. I mean,
So, why do you what is the ideal reason to work in a recording studio?
I mean,
Is it because you love music or because you're a tech?
Yeah, kind of a combination,
Geek.
right? What I liked about working in the recording studios, I like to create an environment where the technology was just sort of transparent, right? Where
You could
know,
forget about it.
Yeah,
you created
so that artists-
environments.
yeah, that's what I like to do, you know. So artists could walk up to the microphone and just kind of, capture a performance.
Do what
right?
they do, yeah.
Mhm. And so that's what I enjoyed about it, like not letting the technology get in the way. And for some reason, that's kind of how I transitioned from Hollywood recording into biotech IT. It's a weird connection,
Biotech
right?
IT.
The music
Feels like me, like a song interlude.
Well, there's a lot of crossovers with mathematics and biology and music, for sure.
Yeah.
perhaps.
A lot of the same principles.
Can you share like how you got introduced into that world?
Biotech?
Yeah.
IT? Well, through commercial AV, you know.
So you were doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. I just continued to work with, after I left Hollywood and moved up to the Bay Area, I needed a gig. So using that experience kind of pivoted into commercial AV, creating spaces and systems for architected, spaces, offices and whatnot. And then, ended up getting an opportunity to work for Genentech. So now I kind of continue to try and make technology transparent, so people, doctors, scientists can communicate around the globe, without complication.
That's a cool mission.
It's pretty cool. So if you were to put your expertise to work and offer some ideas on how to improve gradient studios, would you have any?
Yeah. What would
And
you
what would
say?
they be?
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing.
You wouldn't change a thing?
I wouldn't change a thing.
Wow.
Except I'd get these tubes heated up nice and orange.
Yeah, we can do that. We just need power.
And maybe I'd move that bottle cap, that Bunt bottle cap that's used as a microphone
this-
clamp.
That was my idea.
Maybe replace that with something else. Other than that,
We lost the thing.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay. All right. You wouldn't change a thing. I kind of want to get some SM58s.
Yeah, I mean having like microphones would make for easier to balance. Maybe even some RE20s, radio microphones, that you
Or
can
even-
get right up on them without getting that real low.
See, that's what I want to hear.
Right. You wanna hear more of that?
Yeah, get
Oh, I
in
can-
there.
I can do that.
Yeah, get in there and warm it up for everybody.
I can do that for you.
I can even bring
It'd be
the
nice
bass
to
down.
be nice to have an 8-channel headphone amplifier, so we could have guests and audience, and we wouldn't run out of headphone
Panel speakers.
space.
We could hook it up to the PA and blast our thing into the room. But
Yeah,
that'd
we
be
figured
weird.
out that we could chain those headphone amps that we have and have a total of 6 people.
Yeah. 7.
1, 2,
6.
3, switcher. It's 6.
That's 6. He's right. Okay, cool.
Well,
Well,
just better mics, right? Just
Yeah.
yeah.
right on. Well, okay, I think then that's that. Let's go into your topic.
I got a topic. I think you guys can both relate
What's
to this topic.
What's this topic?
Topic is music rehearsal studios.
Oh
Okay.
shit!
I mean,
Are you swearing at the topic?
you guys remember this? When did you get your first music rehearsal studio? Was it your friend's parents' garage? Did it have running water? Was the toilet completely encrusted with shit?
Was there not even anything? I mean, was it like, were there walls and like dangerous outlets to try to plug into? Maybe. What was? Yeah. Okay.
Dangerous outlets.
Uh-huh.
Sure, I'll tell you. I'll give you.
What was
I'll
your
give you one.
first? What was your first rehearsal space?
First, friend's garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, friend's garage. Second one was friend's barn. Super hot.
A barn?
Second floor of
what
a barn.
What state is this?
Massachusetts. Second floor of the barn, so it was super muggy and hot and dusty and grungy in the summers. And we would we thought we were in a band, It was more about posing than it was about playing music.
You guys didn't play much music.
We played music, but we just thought it was so cool that we were in a band, right?
I don't know.
Once
Are
it
you
got
guilty
real,
of that?
though, the real deal, once you start paying for rentals, for rehearsal space, that's when it gets weird.
Well, we actually were talking about this recently.
We were.
We did talk
Yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my first ones was like at Hingham Harbor ferry terminal. There was this little building, and the guy's name is John Ridlon. You can look him up, and he looks like Lorenzo Lamas. He looks like Renegade. You know that show, Renegade? Lorenzo Lamas. He just looks like this Hollywood superstar. And he was the guy. He had long hair, and he was renting us these studios. And like one bathroom, no running water, toilet doesn't flush, never any toilet paper.
Sounds like heaven.
And it seemed, for so long, it seemed like every rehearsal studio was that. Like that was just how it was. Where there was no running water, the landlord was an absentee prick. Until I got to California with OMC.
Really?
And I was like, oh, there's running water? This is amazing. So I'm interested, though, in any music rehearsal studios you guys have been involved in. Have there been any break-ins? I've had break-ins. I've had shit stolen.
I'm going to knock
I've
on
had-
microphone here and go, I've never had a musical studio break-in.
I've had psychotic landlords.
Oh, yeah. I've had psychotic
Ridiculous
landlords.
rent. Weird locations.
Have you experienced many
So I'm interested in what you guys...
rehearsal studio situations?
Well, my first rehearsal studio was in my friend's mom's basement. And I just can't believe that she tolerated that for as long as it went on.
Months?
Years.
Were there drums?
Years.
Drums?
There were drums. Yep. There were
Nice
drums.
lady. I appreciate her. Thank you.
And,
What's her name? Can we thank her?
Mrs. Mishevsky.
Mrs. Mishevsky, I'd like to thank you. Jim Labinsky is one of the best musicians I've ever met in my entire life.
Too much.
In terms
No.
of most
You
annoying...
heard this guy on brass? It's
Most
like he's an alien.
most annoying instruments: snare drum, violin.
Yeah.
And there's no others. It's just those two. But yeah, it's funny to think about your parents putting up with, or your friends' parents putting up with these kids just
I don't know how
making
she did it.
atrocious.
I don't know how she did it.
My very
Sounds.
first band, we rehearsed on the porch of my house in Don Pedro. So there was electrical outlets
The
on
whole
the porch.
neighborhood could hear it.
No, because only one house was in sort of ear distance, but we were on 1.2 acres, and everyone else kind of had like an acre and a half or something. It was pretty spread out. So on the porch, it was cool. There's this little section where there's two stairways. So it was like one going left, one going right, and there's this big like flat area. It was very respectable porch, but it was connected to a double wide pre-manufactured situation. So it was like, a good combo. So my very first rehearsal space was my first band, Parasite Funk Project. Parasite Funk Project had 4 members, and one of the members was an atheist, and the rest were devout Christians. And so it was weird because remember the guy who was writing the lyrics.
Wait, so you were the atheist?
I was the atheist. And the guy, we started writing this really heavy song. And he wanted to call it Death Rocks.
not ironically.
That's what the Christian
Right?
singer
Not
wanted to call.
not in an
We
ironic
want
way.
to go, Death Rocks. That's what we wanted to do. And I was like, well, dude, hold on a second, man.
Oh, man, it's beautiful.
I was like, dude,
That's beautiful.
Let's call it Life Rocks, because look at all the cool things we can do. And then he changed it to Life Rocks, and the song became Life Rocks. So our show was at the Christian Youth Center, the church, and that was our only show. And
We're
it
talking
went
about
well.
We're talking about rehearsal spaces.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah.
my first rehearsal space was on that porch. That's
Right,
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
My best rehearsal space was when I moved to San Francisco. It was in a warehouse, 10,000 square foot warehouse. We called it the Ranch. 4 of us lived there.
Illegally.
It was semi-illegally. It was a bad idea, but we lived. There was a trucking company downstairs that every morning would fire up their diesel trucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this giant squirrel cage fan, which I'd turn on. It would blast fresh air into my space, which was a little penthouse over the roof, so that it would have positive airflow.
Yeah.
And keep the diesel out. Most of the diesel, or some of the diesel, less diesel exhaust.
Did that work?
Not very well.
Sounds like it didn't
Oh.
work
Not
very
very
well.
Not very well. But when we came home from work,
You were sleeping above the
God
diesel
damn it.
warm-up
it was
room?
it was very bad. Yeah,
Jim
Very bad.
Labinsky.
It was very bad.
Yeah, it wasn't healthy. But I feel fine. I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
But what was great about it is we had this, we called the grand room, right? It wasn't very grand, but it was big. It was probably about 1,000 square feet. And everybody had their little rigs that they were working on, drum set. Carl, the grower of this, out in Gerlach, lived with me at that time. Drum set, didgeridoo, hooked up through a microphone, through a series of effects processors. So he would just rock on the drums and play didgeridoo at the same time.
What do you mic a didgeridoo with?
He had a little clip-on down at the bottom, and then a vocal mic. So he had several things going on.
Two mics.
Yeah.
For the didgeridoo. It's
Yep.
cool.
Mm-hmm. And then I had what I called an octophone, right, which was basically an 8-track mixer with everything feeding back into itself, right? And I had that, and then
Sounds dangerous.
so microphones coming into it, instrument microphones coming into it, effects processors, stomp boxes, all feeding back, so you could feed anything back into itself. And so you get some really interesting sounds. Basically, it was a funky analog synthesizer, right?
Mhm.
But you always had to keep your hand on the output, right?
Or else it would.
Yeah, it was important to.
What would
We
happen?
could clip
It
easily.
would just it was everything was, it would just build up, and if it hit the amp at anything, it could hurt people.
Okay.
It could
Okay. All right.
hurt eardrums and people. But if you're, the instrument itself was all about the output, how much you're sending out to the amp, right? And you get some really interesting sounds, and by sweeping the EQs, you can really change that a lot. You can change what's happening in that endless, infinite feedback loop.
I like
But
that.
what we all had was, we had our station set up, so whoever wanted to jam, just hit the on button, boom, and you had talk about noise. There was always a lot of underlying noise, but it was a very creative space that we could just walk in and hit one button.
Oh,
for-
that's the dream.
and you're
That's
done.
the dream.
We've
You
had
walk
so
in,
many
You walk
conversations
in,
about
you hit
that.
one button, and you pick up the guitar, and it makes it. It's perfectly in tune. Makes a perfectly great chord, and it's all being recorded.
Right. Yeah. The dream.
The dream.
You had the
That's
dream.
heaven. Heaven. Walking through
Well, we
the pearly
didn't
gates.
record everything.
You hit
right.
record. You hit
Yeah.
the big red button.
Yeah, we did do multi-track recording at times, but that was my withdrawal period from Hollywood, so I really wasn't into multi-track recording at the time. I was
Got
more
it.
into making a massive
Goddamn.
amount of noise.
You went into Hollywood and got your 10,000 hours via shortcut, and then you had PTSD about it,
I did.
and came to Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
This place.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Have you found this environment to be healthier than the Southern California environment?
Oh God, yeah. I never really got along with the Southern California folks.
In what way?
Interesting.
In what way is it more relaxing?
As a group? Well, I mean, in '98 was when I moved from L.A. Silver Lake. I really enjoyed Silver Lake. It was funky and it was really nice.
Never
You
been.
know,
Sounds
It's
cool.
kind of like the quirkier
I had almost an
part,
acre
right?
in just
Really?
outside of Hollywood. Yeah, I had a gradient. Like it was deep.
He had a gradient.
Yeah, and I utilized it.
Just
It was-
nounified that word.
Fuck yeah, it's a noun. Yes.
Yeah, so it wasn't all bad, but the general, I knew I couldn't raise a family in the music industry. That was my biggest catalyst for leaving.
Because
you know.
may I interject that you are a talented musician, and can that
Thanks.
jump in the story here? Can you tell
That's
me
right.
about
We
a
haven't
little bit
mentioned
about-
that yet, but
Yeah,
Jim plays the drums and the saxophone.
and many sing.
Guitar.
I mean, Jim just
Sings.
doesn't he play? I don't know. Plays the keys? I don't know.
I do.
So can we just interject that a little bit into the story here?
Caretake the bunker.
My passion for music.
Yeah, and your skill and what you do with music.
Well, I started on piano, at 6 years old.
Oh, okay.
You know,
See, that
we
actually
go.
explains a lot.
That explains a lot.
That makes sense.
Mom said you have to play piano if
She
you
was
want to have
frickin'
any.
Piano,
Right. Your
piano
mom was
lessons are a
right.
good idea.
Yeah,
Your mom was so right, man.
yeah. It's good. It's a good discipline, right?
Yeah.
And
Because it's a
learn
metaphor
that.
for so many other things, and
Mhm.
it's like
Yeah, and it's visual.
can be
right?
applied.
Yeah.
Can be applied in so many other ways.
Mm-hmm. So started there, and then in the fifth grade, we had people come in and introduce us some stringed instruments, cello, violin. I'm like, oh, I want to do that, And my sister was like, she's 4 years older than me. She's like, no, you want to be in the band. They have a lot more fun in band. They have the pep band and the marching band and the jazz band. You want to wait. So I waited a year, and then I wanted to play trombone. And I was in the sixth grade, and they kind of measured my arm, and they're like, no, your arm's too short. You can't reach fourth position trombone. Why don't you do the saxophone?
That's right.
And you're
They're an
small, so why
armist.
don't you do the alto saxophone? I'm like, okay. So I studied that for the next 15 years, right?
Wow.
And I never
That's 10,000 hours.
Whoa, 15 years?
That's 10,000 hours, I
Wow.
think.
Yeah,
Studied
That's
wait,
near enough.
through college.
You
Through
studied
college.
the.
Sax.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah,
sax.
but I always had that passion for drums. When I was,
Right.
probably 7, 8, I set up boxes and stuff, and would just beat on these boxes and just make all these rhythms. And my mom was like, "Okay, that's enough. Shut that down." So
I can't stand it
I
anymore.
had to set that aside for quite some time, and then came back to drums. There was a set of drums for sale on the sidewalk just around the corner here.
What?
Yeah, and
What kind of drums?
Pearl.
Should we
Export.
get them?
Oh, that's what I have in the bunker right now.
Oh.
That's what I've been playing. So I picked those up for $400. I was driving by. I was like, "Stop the car!"
So you just got another drum kit.
Pearl set for
This
400
was
bucks.
This is the original drum.
He's,
set.
he's
This
talking
is-
about in the past.
Oh, how?
This was
Okay,
about
okay,
7 years ago.
Got it.
Just
Talking about
around the
origin
corner.
stories.
Yep. And set those up. I mean, they sat for a couple years, and then I was like, you know what? I need to start playing these. So I took a Sawzall case, turned it on end because I didn't have a throne. I was sitting balancing on a Sawzall case,
Determined.
trying to
That-
play
yeah.
the drums. I'm
Determined
like,
to
okay,
play.
I gotta,
That's
I-
ingenuity.
Drums at
I
any
didn't have any
cost.
money. I'm like, okay, I gotta save up some money and get a throne. Got a throne, and then kind of set the kit up, and I've just taken to it.
Yeah, you seem
love it.
very relaxed when you're playing
Yeah,
the drums.
You seem
Awesome.
very in the rhythm, like you seem there.
like a meditative.
It's my
thing,
happy place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
It's
I
awesome.
really struggled to love playing saxophone. There are times when I do love it, but I tend to bump up against the ceiling on it, where I'm just like, damn, I can't do what I want to get
With the saxophone?
joy out of it. Yeah, it doesn't give me the joy. Like playing drums, I get a lot
You can
of
find-
back.
It's more
from it.
visceral. It's more physical.
Very physical.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't realize.
You
when I got
find
into
new
it.
plateaus. I think
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
important.
Well,
Yeah.
when
the
I get
the
to-
moment you're playing an instrument and it's just you don't feel like you're reaching any new plateaus,
Mhm.
that could be dispiriting.
I hear
Yeah.
that.
That's the challenge, and I think we all deal with that as musicians, right? Where we
Right.
kind of bump up against the ceiling.
Well, we all have the thing
It's like
where
guitar. I'm just like, I'm not a guitar player.
well, we all have our expertise.
That's
instruments.
my analysis of me. You know what I mean?
Is it true that we all have our expertise instruments and we play many other instruments? And you kind of know which instrument is your expertise, and the one you happen to be the best at
It's
now.
the one that you gravitate towards the most.
Yeah.
You tend to gravitate towards. Everyone tends to gravitate towards something more than.
But
something
you
else.
do other stuff too. I mean, you play lots of.
So
other
for me,
things.
it's bass. For
Yeah.
you, it's drums.
Yeah.
Jim.
Is the saxophone? Is that right?
It's not the sax. He
no.
plateaued on the sax.
Yeah.
So what's
Well, right currently, I would have to say drums.
Hell
You
yeah.
know, I just really like.
He's a drummer.
Mm-hmm. But I also
yeah.
just like the octophone is really a unique thing, right? Where you can, it's just an organic. It's controlling chaos, and that's what I like about setting up a system that feeds back into itself. And you have to kind of, it's like, whoa, how do you keep it on the rails to make it musical? Most of the time, it's just more of a ambient. It's not melodic. It's more of an element that's happening. And how I like to do that is just to put a live mic up to kind of capture what's happening right now, and then feed that back so it stays current, because it's
Right.
So there's live sound going into it, which keeps that infinite loop alive. Right? Because you can keep it alive without adding anything in, but then it won't change. Right.
Right.
Well, thank you for explaining
Wow,
that. That's
very
freaking cool.
It's a very philosophical
Yeah, that's like
take on
music philosophy kind of.
being a technician.
Infinite feedback loop.
Okay.
There are no problems.
It's like
only infinite feedback solutions.
I'm looking at these instruments on the other side of the room, and we're going like, well, dang, is there a way we could put this guy on the drums and put me on
Swivel
the
that center camera
uh-huh,
around,
and then put me on the something and someone else on the microphone, maybe me on the microphone, you on the guitar, and see what happens.
oh, you were doing some raps.
I'll sing, I'm a vocalist. I can make it work.
What happened to that bass? Oh, it's not here.
Tim took it. Yeah.
Dang
That's
it.
some big.
Fucking dang
If there was a bass here, we
I don't
could
even know.
have cut the world in
dang
half.
it, dang it, dang it.
Cut it right in half.
I can. I have a bass nearby. I can.
That's how it is for me. Is like, it almost feels like an addiction. Like if I'm not touching bass once a day, it throws me off. It actually throws me off.
Interesting.
It's like not brushing your teeth.
Hmm.
Oh, I didn't brush
or
my
po-
teeth today. It's like, oh, that's what it was.
Or
I forgot to brush my teeth this morning.
It's like pooping.
And I think that's a good way to look at. That's a good way to systemize, routinize your practice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I wake up, go play the drums, have a glass of orange juice, and then I go for a run, and then go to work.
That's your routine.
Right.
That sounds
That
like a
could
good
be-
routine.
That sounds like a
I don't play
wonderful-
drums.
But I wouldn't
That would
drink
be
orange juice because it's too much sugar.
too much sugar,
Right,
too much
yeah.
acid.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I like
Smoothie? What would it be?
it would probably be like banana, psyllium husk, avocado, a little milk.
So
Something like
omega
that.
3s, potassium.
Yeah, something like that.
Is that a hummingbird whale?
That's a narwhal.
Here, can we?
And it says, "What's the point?"
Yeah.
Because narwhals have that
That's
spiral horn.
Narwhal.
On the top of the screen there.
Narwhals have the spiral horn.
I'm glad it's not a hummingbird whale.
There's another piece of art too by the same artist.
That's
right
like
over
it's a good alternative name for
See,
it.
it's on the screen. Shit.
So yeah, rehearsal spaces,
Oh.
That's
garages.
where we were.
That's
So-
where we were.
How did
I-
we get here?
Garages.
That's how it goes.
So now I'm
That's just how it
now
goes.
I'm at OMC,
Yeah.
Oakland Music Complex,
You have a spot there?
and it's secure.
They shut my key
Multiple levels of security, accountability.
off. Mhm.
It's pretty great. Why aren't there more rehearsal studios?
Because it's loud as fuck, and you have all kinds of people who are in very low economic statuses. Because if you were
musicians
rich,
are poor.
yeah, if you were
promise
rich,
I'll
you would
have the
just
rent.
have a studio, right?
Right. Musicians are poor.
Yeah.
So they're poor tenants.
And you have to be in a city to be a musician because you have to be in it to win it. You know what I mean? It's like
So out in Crockett, it makes more sense to just have a garage or a separate studio.
and you can do it.
Well, Chris.
But in the city.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting. One of those tall towers downtown. It's not the Millennial Tower, downtown San Francisco, but they have a jam space on like the 30th, 40th floor of this skyscraper, with all this vintage gear set up in a soundproof room in one of these high tower condominiums, right?
Imagine how fun that would be to just have a view of the city and be recording.
Yeah, right.
You're in the penthouse and it's a studio.
I don't know how they work it out, like as far as shared equipment, but
You could work it out.
yeah, it can be worked out.
I've often envisioned that like a really great hotel would have one of those in it. Like, because I was a flight attendant for a decade, and I was like, there's gyms, and I use the gyms, but I really wish there was a
Gym
drum kit
space.
and a guitar amp and some guitars.
Why not have all the facilities of a city just in the skyscraper?
Yeah, and I always
have
wanted
a- you have
that,
a
but now it
nightclub.
looks like they're doing it.
Yeah.
Nightclub at a level, you have a
Nightclub, recording
studio,
studios,
yeah,
residential.
and you just show up
residential.
and say the thing that's awesome about hotels is people from all over the world come to a hotel in Houston, right? Because there's all kinds of conventions and shit.
I love hotels.
And then you go like, oh, I'm going up there, and then you'll find 3 or 4 people from all over the wherever, and then you'll be like, okay, let's lay something down.
Right.
Here's the jam
Right.
space at Lumina.
Oh, here we go.
So
Yeah,
you show that.
you see it?
Yeah.
There we go.
I'll show you a couple pictures out there in internet land,
hmm
interwebs.
This is Lumina.
Lumina, yeah. I got a Leslie amp. I think there's a Marshall amp in there. Maybe not. Pretty interesting. Electronic drums, keyboards, PA system.
Electronic drums.
How do you feel about the electronic drums? Do you have any feelings about that?
You know, a few years ago, I was looking into, all of them. I started at the $600 level, and it's
Right.
garbage. And then
Yep.
I got up to like
It's
the
all trash.
$1,500. It just barely
Still
not
basically trash.
garbage.
Yeah, it's still basically mostly trash.
Yeah, and then you get up to the I don't know what the
You're
I
paying
don't
for
remember the price
paying
point,
for
but
the heads and the sensors.
The
yeah,
computer too.
I paid $400 for my export pearls on the sidewalk, and I had to looking at the electronic
Great
drums,
deal.
you had to get up to like multiple thousands of dollars, $5,000.
You
And
need
then-
you need to start at 3. If you're not paying $3,000, it's probably not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the TD50 is $5,500.
Yeah.
That's the professional tier.
So, but then it works. Then
And
it
it
really
works,
works.
You know,
And then
the-
you have
below
the-
that is sort of like, well, you're just kind
not-
of
it's not really-
you're not really serious about drums.
And then
So
you have
we're early in the technology.
1,000 drum sets at your fingertips.
Yeah, oh yeah,
You
a million.
just spin the dial, and you can sound like any.
And you can
anything.
change any of them any way you want.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah. It's
And you
amazing.
can do audio outs and all kinds of you can do USB, and that's 10 tracks.
Because you can use your own style of playing drums in the service of these other instruments that were once upon a time only drum machines, right?
Mhm.
Like the 808 or something.
You can play
Now it's actually organic, and you can play all the sounds.
to a very
It's fucking
finite degree.
insane,
Here.
and that's
I have a
that's
problem.
why you're paying 600. That's why you're paying $6,000
No,
because it's completely badass.
I didn't actually have to pay full price because I'm just a badass
I know,
drummer.
but MSRP.
Yeah. MSRP
And look at
is
it.
too much money.
It's super small. It's like super compact.
Can we see it? Let's see. No, I got a shot of the roof. You turn the camera around, then we can see it. But or push it down. No,
So we're gonna jam. We're just gonna talk about.
I think we should. I think we should jam. I think it'd be cool if we jammed. I think it'd be cool if we could connect the mixer into the interface. And I pick up the microphone.
So what do we need to do? We need to plug the guitar into the mixer.
It already is.
And
all we need to do is connect the mixer to the interface.
no, it's not. The guitar's not.
Well, then we can do that.
And then plug
that's it. I'll just grab a microphone and plug it in. It'll be fine.
Okay.
So can we do a sounds good? Use the restroom and set that up real quick. Do you have a sounds good for us, Albert?
Good.
Yeah. If you don't, I definitely do.
It's a musical interlude.
If you have it queued up,
go
for it.
So this is our sounds good.
Sounds good.
Micro flatter.
Sounds good.
So
Bucker.
Do you do that, or do you want to do what we have here?
It's up to you guys.
Well, we can definitely do some cool stuff with what we have here, or we can get the bass, whatever.
For him on bass. Well, with the bass, okay.
Hey, can you bring the sax too?
I can.
Okay.
No problem.
No promises.
Oh, there's my pen. Is it still live?
It's okay. People who are live, now, they won't mind the pause. They'll just do something else. And when you watch in the future, you can just fast forward. It's really fun. I think.
I think it's fine too.
You might.
Things plugged in and turned up, and bass this week turned down.
So, here, if I turn on the PA. Yeah, that's a good old shit. Small. And then,
That's the mic. What is this?
it's another channel available.
Let's get the head off that.
Oh. Am I playing guitar? Is that what's happening? much better. Yeah.
So why is 7? 7 is blue. This one?
These are the 2 outs.
Is that what's in there?
This one here.
Okay.
And then
I'm just working.
this one here.
You put 8 is working. You put 7 is not working.
You do one. Just do one single out. Phone's out, man.
Right now it's one. It's just one.
Hey.
Track.
Cool. We're almost ready.
All right.
How's that hill?
7. There's no 7.
There we go with the reverb. As I'm passing river up in this village, finally got the reverb up in this
This will work.
All kinds of wires.
This will work.
This is
Jeez, drop this baby in.
Is there somebody in this hotel? Is there somebody in here? Yeah, I think so. Maybe some reverb and then totally delay the track. That was your joke. Hey.
Am I drinking a hot bullet? I think yes. Hot bullet. I wonder if they had. I start to suspect they put adjuncts in the hot bullet.
That's like is that a euphemism for blowing your brains out? Drink the hot ball.
I guess.
This is the base.
It's the base. Whoa.
Where's my Wi-Fi?
You're doing this all over Wi-Fi? Or wired? combo.
One of the wired up to this brain room here in the stem. From here we emit Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi.
We emit Wi-Fi from here in the central brain.
Things like a classic.
The flat run string
It's from the future.
makes it all the more.
Selfie sticks from the ceiling. You guys really do it. Just make it happen.
Selfie sticks from the ceiling.
That's what's going on.
And have the chargers plugged in.
Charger connected right there. It's a hot mic. There's a hot mic over here. There we go. Hey everybody, welcome to the show, part 2. Podcast for Everything Imagination. I'd like to welcome you to the musical portion of the show.
I guess I should tune up.
That genuine mic is ready for you.
Is this to the PA or to the broadcast? Wow, you guys got it down. Technology around here.
Do you have a tuner anywhere?
There might be a handheld tuner.
It's probably an app somewhere, right? God, I love that. I love that crunchy sound. Awesome.
We're trying to get started here now. We are trying to steer now. Tell you the truth, pay attention. I might be lying to you, or might be lying to you, might be lying to you. Yeah. Now it's recording for the iPad people with the iTunes control. Yeah. Ow! Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Jim Labinsky on the drums. Ow! He comes from fabulous Crockett, California currently. He is a genius. He knows 400 million people. He's in fact the most well-known man in Crockett. Consider him. Consider him famous. Coming across this landscape, you see lots of things and it looks confusing to me. But I just take a step back, count to three, and you see I go 1, 2, 3, yeah. I count 1, 2, 3, backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead and comment below on your thoughts about that jam. Just comment below. And you actually can still call us if you want to call us. Numbers earlier in the show. Okay. 510.
9. Aubrey memorized it, didn't you? What was it? It's right here. It's coming. 10 seconds.
510-859-4173.
Still connected.
Imagination and
Empathy and imagination.
imagination.
What's going to happen? Does he become the vocalist now? Like, what happens?
Call from Jim Labinsky.
Agreed.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2. To accept, press 1. To send a... Okay. I've
Hello?
sent the caller to voicemail. Goodbye.
Oh, well.
Try again.
Hi, yeah, this is Jim Labinsky. I'm calling into the Imagination show. Apparently, they sent me the voicemail. So, they must be busy jamming. I think they're having a jam session at the moment, and all their hands are busy. So, I'll just leave this message, and hey, thanks for having me on the show, and I just want to be part of this infinite feedback loop live. Are we live to Facebook right now? Oh, excellent. Okay, how many viewers do we have? Hello, everyone. All right.
Hey, everybody.
All right, here's the end of my voicemail.
Wow. You just heard it live here, folks. Live on Facebook. Congratulations. Let's try. You guys want to try another tune, like a different key or something? Something weirder? You want to throw... Ooh, can you throw him some of that tapping magic? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
That's why that neck is broke. 4 a.m.
We have a visitor.